Here's your Farm and Ranch report from the Montana Ag Network.
Welcome back for today's Farm and Ranch news. And what a wild week the last week of March was. From blizzards to high winds to even wildfires. Here's to hoping April 2021 is going to be a little better for Montana farmers and ranchers. As we look to our top headlines now, we see that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has announced it will be recommending no change to the current listed status of the grizzly bear in the lower 48 states. It will remain threatened under the Endangered Species Act. Now, the recommendations come from a 5-year status review along with an independently peer-reviewed species status assessment. Environmental groups are applauding the decision, but Montana ranchers and landowners are disappointed in the recommendation.
Raises a tremendous amount of concerns because science is not being included into the decision. I guess in our view, we actually hit the recovery goals in 1997, and this actually should be celebrated as a success story. And yet we're still working on trying to get bears delisted. And I think from a perspective of landowners, agricultural users, we've seen the expansion of grizzly bears across Montana. They're getting far outside their normal recovery goals and zones, and they're impacting livestock producers. We've seen the depredation rates on an increasing trend, and yet now we're going to have very limited tools to be able to protect livestock and ag users across the state.
Bodner said ranchers have played a key role in the recovery of the grizzly bear.
And certainly, ranchers provide habitat for every wildlife in Montana, and we do a tremendous job for that. Just the stewardship that livestock producers provide is just astounding, I think, for Montana. And that's why we have the viable populations. We simply don't want those to be living, in our shelter belt in the back of our yard at our house. We think, there's an appropriate place for them. But when they are that familiar and that comfortable, like I said, living in town, living in people's backyards, because there are going to be conflicts and there are significant human safety issues with that. And we don't, want people to get injured. And so we want to be able to protect not only, our own personal safety, but we want to be able to protect our livestock also.
Now, on the legislative front, last week, U.S. Senator Steve Daines co-sponsored the Grizzly Bear State Management Act of 2021. The bill would remove the grizzly bear and the greater Yellowstone ecosystem from the list and shift management of the bear to states. We'll be right back.